Hey,
Hello,
all
hello.
right, all right. Looks like we've got everyone here. How's it going, everyone? Let's go, Yield Guild. We are here to kick off the actual wrap up of our Block Lord Spotlight here. And yeah, my name's No ACLs. A lot of you know me here. I'm a game ambassador and yeah, just general content creator here within the Web3 gaming space. And yeah, we're kicking this off. We've got the CEO from Metaking Studios. It's David Johansson here. And we've got the core team, Fallen Corpses, AC from Game Ops, and of course Kuya Sedano and the rest of the marshals in the background helping us out. So we're gonna kick it off today. I'm super excited to get started here. Honestly, David and Fallen and AC. I don't know if you've all been as hype as I am about this whole Block Lords kickoff here.
Oh, definitely,
You
definitely.
ready?
Super hype up, and special things will happen later on.
Yeah, for
A lot
sure.
of
Definitely to
reveals
watch.
So
today. Yeah,
Yeah.
big thank you and shout out to YGG, the whole community, Gabby, and really everyone on the team. You guys have been early supporters of Block Lords, and we're really excited to see what your community thinks about it, and of course to talk more about what is coming with the upcoming versions of Block Lords.
definitely. So yeah, before we dive into it here, David, if you want to give a short introduction of yourself, and yeah, we'll get into block alerts.
Sure thing. So yeah, a lot of years, a lot of work led me to where we are today. But yeah, long story short, I'm from Europe. Worked in the U.S. for a while. Studied film there. Worked in Hollywood a few years. Then ended up in China, where I moved into gaming. Worked on a lot of Web2 games, mostly Facebook games, mobile game, but also at Paradox for a while, where I worked in Crusader Kings, which obviously was a big influence for Block Lords. And yeah, got into Web3 in 2017. Fell in love with it. Noticed right away, really, as soon as I got involved with the crypto community, I saw that gaming and crypto was a match made in heaven, essentially, and gaming would really be the portal to bring in mass adoption to the Web3 world. So yeah, that's actually when I had the idea for Block Lords. Was in 2017. Wrote a white paper, got a few crazy friends involved, and we started Metaking Studios in early 2018. Worked on Block Lords V1 from 2018 to 2020. Very different game back then, 2D. And essentially, what happened is we realized there was a lot of issues with infrastructure in the Web3 space. So we started the Seascape Network, which was more focused on building scalable infrastructure tool for Web3 games. And then in 2022, when we felt, okay, now we've built the infrastructure that can make a game like this really happen, we revisited Block Lords, and YGG was one of the first partners to get involved. And the rest is really history.
Yeah, exactly. And just to touch on your mention there, I remember early on, like the whole YGG community getting into the Block Lords Discord, and early on we had the experience grinding as a farmer, just with the basic prompts there and getting a taste, right? So definitely YGG and Block Lords, like we've built a strong relationship since the start of the project, and there's been tons of collaborations. I even remember the banner launch last year, and we had a few AMAs. So things have definitely been going great. We're definitely all excited to hear more about the game, and a lot of the communities here for the first time. So yeah, excited to hear a lot more about Block Lords and what we can expect coming in the near future. So first and foremost, congratulations on the community beta launch. I'm excited to get into the game. I'm gonna play it today. I've downloaded it earlier today. I've seen so much content across the community from so many creators, so it looks like a lot of fun. If you'd like to share with us, let us know some of the updates and just some of the things that are going on with your team at Metaking, and what we can expect this year. That'd be pretty awesome. Love to hear it.
Yeah, yeah, totally. And thank you for playing. Yeah, you definitely you should have gotten in earlier. There's a lot of lords now that are powerful, but I'm sure they'll gladly take your taxes. But we'll talk a little more about the Lord system later for the reveal. But yeah, essentially, Block Lords is built on four pillars of gameplay, and we think these four pillars are very important for the game's economy as a whole. So essentially, the four pillars are farming, fighting, ruling, and conquering, right? So those are really the four main pillars. Farming is essentially the focus of the community beta, right? So it's all about getting into the game, starting your own little farm. Every player has their own farm. Recruiting squads that will have different specializations. You have everything from builders to lumberjacks to cooks to hunters. These different types of squads are controlled by you, the player, and will be able to amass different types of resources from your own farm, right? As you're amassing resources, as you can see on the screen now, there are different events that will come up, and events are essentially small cinematics, little storylines. Like for example, this event here, someone stole all your fruit, and you end up finding more fruit in the forest because of the decision you took as a player. And this is really what the farming and the community beta is all about, is for us to really showcase the main core gameplay mechanics for farming players, and how resources are gathered and generated by users in Block Lords. And obviously that's going to be a very important part as we set up everything for battle features later in the year, because farming is essentially the staple of the economy, right? The staple of the economy. If you don't have farmers, if you don't have resources, there's really nothing to fight about. So that's really, for me, that was very important that we got the farming right first, and that we made the farming and farm building mechanics engaging, because if we don't have that, it's really hard to justify and motivate the fighting enough in later gameplay features. So that's why we've made it the core of the community beta. And so far, the response has been very positive about the farming gameplay. A lot of players are telling me about how addicted they are, and how they keep going back to their farm, several times a day to get as many resources as possible. And also to add a little spice to it, we added the season missions, which you pulled up earlier, where essentially for completing different missions, you will get rewarded with might and EXP. And if you complete all of the missions for the season, you will actually win the Legacy Militia hero, which will be the first fighting hero of the Block Lord universe, essentially.
Okay. Very interesting stuff. Love it, love it. Yeah, one of the biggest things that stood out to me were the cinematics early on. It was just so intense. Literally, it captured my attention there. The game looks great. We definitely would like to know if there are guild mechanics available in the current or upcoming versions in the future, and what does the game look like for guilds like YGG, who have thousands of players all over the world, and big communities out here that want to get into the game.
Yeah, so essentially for now, the main way for guilds to work together are the Lord and Farmer system. Essentially, if you look at the world map in the game, the world map is divided by 50 different regions. Each region is actually controlled by a Lord. And here you can see a city, for example. There you go, there's the region map, the world map. So this is the world map. And as you can see, if you click on a certain region, there will be a different rulers. So essentially, every ruler is benefited the more farmers they have per region, right? And here you can see the city coffers. So city coffers is essentially all taxes collected by a lord from the farmers who work on their land. And this is essentially the first collaboration mechanic we have in the game. And we've seen our own community and your community actually organize themselves in order to get the biggest coffers available. That's the main interaction right now between lords and farmers, is just the city coffers. So essentially more farmers in the region will benefit a lord because they'll generate more tax revenue, which can then be claimed by the lord or lady as they get more powerful. What we do plan to have for later versions is essentially a lot more interaction for how these taxes are spent, for how they're distributed to other people in the region. Lords will also have the ability to set the tax rates, which actually is possible in this version. They'll also be able to build city buildings, and city buildings will affect regions quite a lot. So you can imagine, for example, if you build a certain type of church building, you can get powerful buffs for everyone in the region, or you can build certain buildings that will defend farmers better against raider attacks. You can build certain buildings that will increase the yield of a certain resource. So essentially, the lord and farmer relationship is really the core feature we have for guilds. And we are also looking at rentals. So users are going to be able to rent out their heroes to other users, but only within their region, right? So that's where it makes sense for guilds to be concentrated among certain regions initially. And we are also going to have a tavern building that will be branded according to guilds. So YGG will have its own tavern building where actually things such as voice chat and text and announcements to the entire region will be possible, so that the guilds can collaborate more within the regions and coordinate their attacks against other regions.
Nice, nice. It all sounds very enthralling. Like it's a very interesting ecosystem overall. It reminds me a lot of Civilization. There's a few games that I've seen over the years that have this vibe, but I definitely like the visuals and like I said, the whole animation and the cinematic at the beginning just lets you connect with those characters and builds a storyline right off the bat. So I'm hype about it. Looking forward to dive into it more. You were mentioning, some custom specifics there about, the guild features. AC, was there something you wanted to mention, or are we clear on that, or
Oh yeah,
is that something we got to hold off on?
definitely.
What you got for us?
So we are showcasing our own unique hero is in game. So let me share my screen and reveal
right.
our own unique hero. Do you guys guess who is our unique hero, or any name that stick on your mind before I reveal
Hmm.
the hero's name or the specific hero that's in the
Hmm.
Discord? What do you think, guys?
Any ideas?
Any ideas?
Could be anything.
Lapu
I don't
Lapu.
know.
That's our Filipino hero. Yeah.
Awesome.
Let's see. So,
All right, we
yeah, I
gonna see
think
it?
they're chatting and trying to guess. Maria Clara. That would be impossible. So yeah,
Anything's possible.
Some
let's
guesses being
go
thrown
ahead
out there.
and send out the leaks.
Let it
Here's it
loose. Let's see what we got.
now.
I'm excited to see this. Ooh.
There he is, Gabby
There we
himself.
go.
Ooh,
So we have our
Gabriel Dizon.
own Sir Gabby for our unique hero, our
Nice.
Lord Gabby.
I'll read the
Gabby.
description. So yeah, just to clarify, unique heroes, they are really the initial founding fathers and mothers of the Block Lords universe. They're essentially the heroes who are going to be able to claim lordships, right? So if Gabby was to log into the Block Lords account and import this hero to the game, he'd be able to claim a region right now. And be essentially lord of a region and get all the YGG soldiers in line and start farming and later on attacking others. So I'll read it. I'll read the description in the true Block Lords manner. Gabriel Dizon. His vision saw potential in the barren fields where others did not. He united the villagers, increased morale, and built his own kingdom, eventually becoming Lord Gabby. So there you go.
Nice.
He's the first YGG hero, first of many.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Love the concept. Great introduction. Let's go. What a reveal. Loving it. Custom heroes. Good stuff. So yeah, to dive further in the conversation, if you guys want to start to roll on through it a bit more, we'd like to dive into the tech side a little bit and just question your experience using Immutable X and Polygon. How has that been? Any challenges that you've encountered building on these chains, and do you think there are any other possible blockchains that you could integrate in the future? So yeah, let us know.
So since essentially we got involved in this space 2018, we've always been chain agnostic. That led us down some weird paths, in the early days of development. We've launched, NFTs on chains like Neo, Icon, Tron, Sui, Moonbeam, Moonriver. So we have a lot of experience working on different types of chains. And when we revisited Blocklord last year and did our initial launch, IMX looked like a good solution. Essentially because there were no gas costs to the users, right? So we thought that was a really interesting. We got to know the team. We experimented a lot with the tech, and when we did launch our banners last year, we did a free mint of banners essentially, right? And that saw over 120,000 banner NFTs minted for free. Another 30,000 have been minted since by people who purchased banner chests. And essentially it was a really good way to get our NFTs into the hands of a lot of users, which we felt was really the goal here, right? That's always been the goal with Blockboards is, okay, how can we make a game that's really going to appeal to a lot of users, even those who aren't too familiar with Web3, right? And we're still not there yet, but that's definitely the goal. And so that was really the reasoning with IMX was, okay, here's a chain that's going to allow us to get and our NFTs into the hand of as many users as possible. I'd say we were successful in that end. You know, we're one of the most unique wallet holded, or whatever you say, games or projects on IMX. And at the same time, we always had the cross-chain vision, right? So as we launched on IMX, as we started getting good interest there and good activity there, we were approached by Polygon, and we came up with some really cool ideas for how we could take this concept a bit further. We were able to do some free claiming stuff there as well, but we'd have to subsidize the gas fees. And we also saw a lot of cool ideas for how to essentially get more users, both on the Web3 side and Web2 side. So the Polygon partnership has been great so far. Actually, it's just the beginning. We have quite a lot more planned in the upcoming months with Polygon. And yeah, essentially, as I said, the cross-chain vision is really there, and we've built everything around it. So if you've tried importing and exporting a hero to and from the game, you will see that it's very seamless. It essentially takes about 10 seconds to send your hero to the game, and it takes about another 10 seconds to export it. Even if it's on Polygon, to and from IMX, Polygon, it's not a problem. We don't want to decide where users keep their assets. Essentially, it's up to the user. You want to have your hero in game? Great, we'll host them for you. You want to have him on Polygon, or you want to have him on IMX? It's really totally up to you. And we're definitely going on other chains, and I can't make any announcements now, but I probably hinted at it earlier. So yeah, keep a lookout. We'll always be going to new unexplored ventures.
Awesome. Yeah, I love to hear it. I think it's definitely exciting that Blocklords is, taking the path through Immutable and Polygon. They're definitely facilitating that gateway to the mainstream there, and the GameStop collaboration is huge. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with Blocklords as we get into the future. But yeah, we just gotta wait and see what's to come. So moving forward, what can you tell us about what's coming next after the community beta, and what features you guys might be focused on next? What to expect, if there's anything?
Yeah, so definitely, yeah, of course, I can share a lot, and some of the things are maybe quite obvious, but obviously, a part about doing a beta is really seeing what the users think about the existing mechanics, tweaking. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of tweaking of the game economy. There's going to be a lot of tweaking of the user onboarding. How can we make the tutorial stickier? How can we get people more engaged? How can we get people coming back more often? So far, everything's very encouraging. But obviously, a big reason for doing the beta is taking what we have and making it smoother and better. In terms of new features, the open beta, which will launch in a few months, we're aiming for late summer for the open beta. Well, if we have to delay it, we may do that. But for now, it's looking on track for late in the summer. We will essentially do the Lords gameplay. We'll get a lot of other features, right? Because as I showed earlier, we have the tax system in place. We have the city coffers in place. That's great. It's already been a lot of fun seeing kind of like the different region rivalries and Lord rivalries organized. So that's been really cool, but we need a lot more, right? So we need ways for Lords to incentivize farmers to work on their land. The tavern system I mentioned earlier, where Lord can, make announcements to maybe attract new players to their land. More features such as city buildings, and definitely we're working on something like this farming events, but that's more regional and more based on Lord's actions. So we call it the adventure system. Those are for sure going to be in the open beta. We're also looking at some early battle mechanics coming out quite soon, which will be farmer specific. This is where the militia legacy warrior will be really handy to have. Essentially, there will be some unknown entities, attacking your farm, and you'll have to protect yourself against them. So that's essentially for the next update later in the summer. Then later this year, that's when we start looking at the raider system. That's where you as a player can go visit other farmers in other region and burn their stuff down and steal resources, right? So that's when things get become a lot of fun.
So
And
the
we'll also
conquest
have some
begins.
exactly. That's when the mayhem begins, and that's obviously going to be a problem for lords, right? Because they'll be losing tax income that way. And then
Yeah.
late this year, early next year, that's when we're looking at the PvP and PvE systems, which is really hand-to-hand combat between two different warriors at the same time. So that's when the real craziness begins.
Ooh, that sounds very exciting. Like, honestly. Wow. So a lot of interesting things about Block Lords overall. Meta King is putting out some very amazing work. I'm loving it so far. The community's hype. Everyone's excited to dive into this game. I'm very interested into diving into the community questions here. But before we do that, if anyone else from the team wants to weigh in and give their feedback or any questions here, would be great. Fallen, AC, and you guys want to weigh in before we roll into the community queues here?
Yeah, the game is so good, and we're excited. Almost more than 10 or 20 of us are already playing at the same time previously, and then enjoying the community voice while streaming the game, and then we're exchanging different views and tips and ways to play the game. So yeah, definitely we're very excited for the game. And I got a question. Excited for the aging and the lineage of the hero. So how it will get into the game, or when it will be implemented?
Yeah. So the dynasty system, that's what we call it, the dynasty
Mhm.
system, and that essentially includes a few mechanics. It's aging, it's death, it's marriage, and it's having babies, right? So
Mhm.
it's a very big system, and actually it's gonna start on the website first. So we're
Mhm.
we're not saying the exact dates. It is gonna happen sometime after the open beta, so still not too long from now. It's definitely happening this year. And yeah, essentially, it'll be a way for you as a player to build your own family, get married, have kids, and also making sure that you have heroes who can keep working on your land, on your farm, and your army after they die. So definitely, that's a huge system, and we're doing it on the website first, and then it will go into the game later on, essentially. So it's very connected to the NFTs and all of the NFT mechanics that we have in place.
Nice. That's great to hear. Excited to see the concept and how it will be implemented in the website and in the game. Thank you, David. Yeah, Fallen.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hey, Fallen.
Muted.
Good. We got your audio. Oh,
Yeah.
we can hear you, man.
Sorry if it's windy out here. Yeah, I leave my mic on. The wind picks up here. I'm out in the middle of a actual farm field. So, David, been loving the game, playing quite a bit of the beta. Obviously, there's that need to be tweaked on, like not being able to retire some of your farm hands. But other
Definitely.
than that, like
That's coming very soon.
very impressive. Is that beta?
Yeah. Well, we're working on an update for that this week or next week, so that'll come very soon.
Yeah, I know a few people kind of mixed up and took some not optimal routes with their farmers there. So that's going to be great news. But so far, I think I'm about halfway through the seasonals there.
Cool.
We other people's in regards to if you'll
Oh. We got some
Windy.
audio issues there again, Fallen. That wind
It's a
is
strong wind.
very powerful. All right, well, we'll see if we can get Fallen's audio sorted out. But in the meantime, let's kick off some of these community questions here. I'd like to know, what the community thinks and what they'd like to know about the game. So let's check out the first question here. Some interest in when will we be able to craft guns and rifles?
Ooh.
If that's a possibility. Okay, we're throwing that one out there. You want to answer that one or roll on to the next one?
Definitely, it's going to be a while. Essentially, we're
Be
very
a while.
focused on the early to medieval era. It is a fantasy setting though, so we are able to take historical liberties. The Block Lords universe is a fantasy one. That said, yeah, crafting as a whole is a very complicated mechanic, and we know that we want crafting. We know that we want an inventory system, and we want it to have a pretty big impact on the game's economy. That said, we're actually saving that until very late in the game's life cycle. We want to make sure, the farming is right, the fighting is right, the ruling is right. And crafting will be more like an individual gameplay. That's obviously very important, but we're actually saving it till last. So there's not going to be crafting of any kind until next year, unless you consider making babies crafting. In that case, that'll come a bit sooner. But yeah, something like guns, I would say that's still quite a far away.
Fair enough, fair enough. Yeah, it's definitely a complex ecosystem here, and I like the approach of like giving everyone time to, get their feet wet, learn all the basics, build their way into it a little bit, and then, further extend and expand on those features. So yeah, good approach. Looking forward to it. I guess we'll have to wait, be patient, and yeah, it looks like there's some exciting things to come in the not so distant future. So let's take another question here. Let's see here. All right, so there is more interest in the alliance aspect of the game. A question here is, how will alliances affect gameplay? Do players from other alliances, are they able to join the same guild? I'm not sure if that's a possibility there. Like I said myself, I haven't really dove into this game too much yet. I'm definitely going to get into it today, but yeah, let me know if some of these questions resonate with you here about these features.
Yeah, so the alliance system in general, like guilds, essentially, we're designing the game to make that quite flexible. So essentially, we want users to form into the groups that make sense to them, whether that's being a part of a guild and always repping that guild wherever I am, which I'm sure a lot of YGG fam will do. And at the same time, the Block Lords alliances, which we've seen quite a lot of interest in, will be able to rep their alliance on the map in their farms. Essentially, I don't want to say too much about it because most of that will at the end be cosmetic and more about repping, right? And there'll be many ways to rep your alliances, to rep your guild inside your farm, on your map, so on and so forth. In terms of battles, that won't really come into play until kingdoms are formed, and kingdoms aren't formed for another year or so, according to the current timeline. And that's when we're going to start seeing really things like alliance war starts happening. But short answer is yes, there will be ways to rep your alliance, rep your guild in game. Long answer is it'll take quite a lot of time for that to be reflected inside the game with proper alliance wars.
Sounds good. Yeah, fair enough. So like I said, you just got to be patient and wait for these expansive features to be introduced. Super exciting. Another question here we've got, since we're talking about kingdoms a little bit there. It might be a little too far out, but there's interest in knowing if a king can be exiled or overthrown when we reach that point.
Yes, there are plans for that. There are plans both for lords to be overthrown and for kings to be overthrown. That said, I want to make it very clear that it's never going to be easy. Lords and ladies, for now, they're very secure in their position. As we mentioned, unique heroes are the only ones who can claim it. That's going to be the case for quite a long time. But essentially, when we start introducing the full PvP battle features early next year, and then later on the Kingdom War battle features middle next year, that's really when things start getting really interesting. Because essentially, for the lords and ladies, if farmers are unhappy with their current lord, they'll be able to start a rebellion. However, to start a rebellion, you'll need buy-in from many other people in your region, right? So I can't by myself, if I have a lot of money on my whale or something, I can choose to overthrow the current lord. I actually have to get the other farmers, at least half of them, on my side to then start a rebellion. Then when you start the rebellion, that will be an actual war within the region between the farmers and the lord, right? And then if you're able to overthrow them, then whoever started the rebellion will be able to claim the lordship for themselves. Kingdoms will be a little different, but essentially kingdoms will be voted in by the lords, right? So several lords will choose a king. And so essentially, if the lords are unhappy with their king, they can make a challenge, and that's actually just a vote. That won't be a war. So very shortly, explaining complex mechanics, but that's what we have in mind for those two features.
The politics, yeah, the democratic experience within the game, the economics,
Exactly.
how they can be affected when your kingdoms are attacked, and so on. It's
Well,
awesome, man. I really love it.
yeah, and that's how that's how medieval times were, right? It's like everyone thinks
Yeah.
the kings were almighty, but actually the kings were only put in place by the nobles. And if you pissed off your lords and your ladies, even though they're supposed to, look up to you, you were in trouble essentially. So we're trying to mimic some of those real life mechanics.
Definitely. Yeah, the whole PvP experience, like, it sounds very exciting. Like I said, I'm looking forward to it. I guess we gotta wait, man. You're making me just get antsy. But we can wait. I'm just looking forward to more content and more experiences from you guys here in the near future. Just curious, there's another community question here. If you could go into the concept of the dynasty system a little bit and how that impacts gameplay and the strategy aspects there. Got some more details for us?
So definitely, heroes are very important in the game. I think we've shown that with this community beta. Like, just the difference between having a hero and not having a hero with one of your squads is quite big. So essentially, heroes are important, and that's a philosophy for the game. That's definitely going to be more and more so the case with events, with battles, with lord features. Lords are going to be able to have heroes in their courts, so on and so forth. So the baseline is heroes are very important, and heroes are improved by the dynasties in which, that are their bloodlines, so to say. So the dynasty system will first being you as a player establishing you have a dynasty. How do you do that? Well, essentially, legacy heroes, legacy farmers, legacy hunters, et cetera, they are a very big part of this. Because if the unique heroes are the rulers, you could say that that the legacy heroes are the middle class, or they're the noble bloodlines, but maybe not powerful quite yet, but they have the potential to be powerful. Whereas the basics are the ones without any flag in the background, with lower stats ranges. They're not even nobility at all. So yes, they can get married, they can have babies, but they can never become powerful. They can never do like more of the unique or privileged roles in society. So that's just to say that Dynasty is really going to see a lot of use cases for banners. Dynasty is going to essentially be fueled and improved and driven by the legacy heroes and the unique heroes. And so, essentially, you as a player will be able to start your dynasty. You'll be able to name it. You'll be able to choose certain features that the dynasty is good at. And that will give your heroes, all heroes that are part of your dynasty, a bonus, essentially. And then, once you have your dynasty, you can add your heroes to that dynasty. You can get married. You can have big parties. You can have special events. You can, do different types of studies or different types of custom events that will make your dynasty more powerful. And of course, you can have babies, right? And then when you have babies, it's really up to you. Do you keep them in your dynasty? Do you make your dynasty more and more powerful? Or do you, sell them and maybe buy in other heroes from other dynasties to make your dynasty even more powerful?
Nice. Yeah, that's quite the cycle there, honestly. Got to survive and conquer. But I like the aspect there that the other tiers, those heroes have the ability to grow and build and work their way up to having a chance to conquer out there in, the Block Lord's kingdom. So interesting stuff. I just want to throw out a shout out here for everyone that's been, hanging out with us this far. We do have a giveaway going on, so if you want to go ahead and like and retweet the live stream and drop a comment, anything you'd like to know about Block Lords, or just your feedback, or anything, just let us know, and we'll be doing a giveaway at the end of the stream to 2 lucky winners there. So be ready. Hang out until the end and we will decide on that. So another thing before we get into the wrap up here, there are some questions about if there are going to be any restrictions, limitations when we're talking about PvP, such as character restrictions. because there's some anticipation about esports here and competitive gaming. So what do you think here in that regard?
Yeah, I mean, the best way we can describe our PvP feature right now, and obviously there's a lot of testing, we're still quite a bit away from it, is a hybrid between RTS and MOBA. So we really want that competitive element. Skills are definitely going to be important, but so are stats going to be, right? Like your heroes, your armies need the right amount of stats, and you need to build your army the smartest way, the most optimized way possible in order to win, right? So to answer your question, some battles will be very, very difficult to win because you'll be mismatched, right? You'll be fighting someone that maybe you shouldn't be fighting. You'll be attacking another region. You know, maybe you're attacking a very well protected region. It's going to be really difficult to win. That said, skills could get you there. Then we will have more of an arena type gameplay where there's actual matchmaking going on and where you'll be facing heroes of similar stats as yours, right? And similar experience level and skill level as yours, right? So we're really trying to do both, right? One is the role-playing element where whatever the conditions are, you as a player have kind of like, you made your own bed, right? If you're in a weak region, you're probably going to have a tougher time than if you're in a strong region. But at the same time, we want the competitive element, and that will be done through an arena matchmaking system.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely sounds exciting. There's a bunch of short community questions here, just general questions of interest. So I'm going to throw a bunch of them at you here, one after the other, and let's see what you think. So there's a question from Boring Forever. She's an OG community member here from the very start. She wants to know, will there be a possibility of in-game YGG banners or guild banners, that we can visually experience in-game?
Yes, definitely. So there will be custom cosmetic buildings, which you'll be able to put. Flags will be a part of that, of course. We already have the YGG hero that you saw. There are actually a lot of YGG farmers that I believe have already been minted. So definitely expect a lot of that. And yeah, essentially customization and cosmetics are going to be a big part of the game as we have more time to essentially add them into it. So you can definitely expect a lot of YGG loot on the way.
Nice. Awesome. Another one to throw at you. Is there going to be a feature to name your babies?
Yes, I can't promise it'll be exactly, you can name every baby in the Dynasty system, but there is definitely going to be a lot of farmer hero customization, and naming of dynasties, naming of heroes is definitely on the horizon.
Okay. Awesome. All right, let's see. There's questions here about will the grind be encouraged in the game, as there are some caps and limitations there. What are the solutions or ideas here to keep it interesting? Definitely the limitations are temporary, I would say. We're working, I forgot to mention it, for the open beta, we are working on a building upgrade system. So you'll be essentially able to upgrade your buildings, and this will consume quite a lot of resources. We felt this version, we were a bit worried that there wasn't enough resource consumption encouraged, because the fighting gameplay is going to obviously consume a lot of resources. So the upgrade system, the upgrade building system will be a great way for people to upgrade their caps. So obviously the main thing is more ways to spend resources, more ways to store resources, more way to share resources with other players or their lords, etc. This is all part of the economy balancing, and this is why we wanted to get the community beta out there to users ASAP, because this is the kind of stuff that we're experimenting with and that we're gathering from the community. Regarding grinding, I do think grinding is encouraged, especially for farmer gameplay. As I mentioned earlier, you have the farmers, you have the fighters, you have the rulers, you have the conquerors, right? And different types of players will play different ways. And I would say definitely the farming is the grinding gameplay, and farmers at heart are grinders, right? A farmer wakes up at 5 and just grinds the whole day to get the resources they need, to feed the farm and to earn their keep. So essentially you could say that the farming gameplay is the grinding gameplay, whereas the fighting gameplay will be more the skills-based gameplay, and then upper levels you have more strategic political gameplay, if that makes sense. Yeah, definitely. Great answers here. I hope everyone's getting, the responses they're looking for, at least getting your questions answered. Definitely awesome stuff. Another question here, if you could explain some more about how we rent our farmers. Any info on that one?
Correct. So essentially, when the open beta comes out, we're not going to have the NFT requirements that we do now. So you can imagine that users, a lot more Web2 users will join, right? So that's a bit how we wanted it. Like during the community beta, we want the asset holders, the real community to get into the game. But when we do launch later on, we will not require users to own an NFT, and that means that we will get a lot more users, right? I'm sure your community is aware of the issues sometimes when you force a wallet or when you force users to do X or do Y before they can play the game. We will have a lot of users, and we maybe will have a lot of users who aren't interested in learning going through the difficulties of buying an NFT. So essentially, in game, there will be a system where users will be able to rent farmers. It'll be region specific, so you'll only be able to rent heroes from people in your region, essentially. But yeah, it will work like you could say any hero recruitment process would work, only it'll be for a limited time, right? And it'll be with resources and then later on with in-game currencies. So for example, hey, my farmer is really good at raising cows, right? Or like milking cows. You know, we have the community milking memes, which everyone loves. So essentially, okay, I really wanting to get a lot more milk next few days. I can rent this hero here for 3 days for maybe 1,000 gold. That's really good at milking cows, right? And then I'm going to increase my milk production during those few days. So that's essentially how the renting system will work. It'll be region specific. It'll be for a limited time. And it'll be really catered at Web2 users who may want heroes, but may not want to go through the NFT life cycle, if that makes sense.
Yeah, got it for sure. So a few more fun questions here. We've got one here. Can we upgrade our units with items we craft in the future?
Yes, again, crafting is far away, but yes, crafting will definitely, items, anything that's crafted by the users will definitely have an impact on the hero stats, ideally the visual as well. That's more a resource issue, but yeah, definitely it will have an impact on the stats, on the traits, and maybe on the dynasty even.
Nice. We've got another one here. As far as the free hero registration, we know that's closed. There's some community members that want to know if there will be any alternative upcoming methods for newbies or any opportunities there.
Yeah, I'd say join the community. Definitely join the community. There's a lot of partnerships going on. There's a lot of giveaways going on. I think even if you ask Sam, rest in peace, Sam's DMs probably, but if you ask Sam nicely enough, there might be a way to get some free heroes. Yeah, we really do want as many people as possible to play the game. We really believe in free heroes. That's, as I mentioned, the open betas later will not have any minimum requirements for NFTs. It's just we've really tried a lot of things for free heroes, and it gets botted quite a lot. So, which is unfortunate, But we're dedicated to getting as many real users as possible into the game. So yeah, definitely join the community, join the giveaways. Be in touch. It won't be a problem to get a hero.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And, even for anyone that's interested in getting into the game now, you can check out the marketplace on Blocklords, and, the prices in Matic are fairly reasonable. So check it out. It's a very low barrier to entry into the gaming ecosystem here of Blocklords. I'm loving it so far. We've got another question here. As far as gameplay experience, will there be hotkeys anytime in the near future?
Yes, definitely. I mean, that was obviously one of the most requested things. So we're definitely going to work on it. I can't promise it'll be ready for community beta just because there's actually more that goes into a system like that than maybe it looks. But yeah, by the open beta, I guarantee 100% we will have hotkeys.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely. Some of the community is looking forward to that. So yeah, hopefully we get that sooner than later. So any other questions from the team here, guys? AC, Fallen, if you've got your audio sorted out. Sedano's with us as well. Any of the marshals, throw your questions. We'll see if there's any more community questions that come out in the meantime, and then we'll start to wrap it up. But it's been a great discussion. I love what's coming out of Blocklords. Can't wait to see more.
Thank
AC,
you. Yeah,
Fallen, you guys good?
Yeah, all good
Yeah,
for
is
me.
my mic together now?
All right.
Yeah, your
If
mic
not
is working
Fallen.
now, Fallen. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, we
cheers,
had him
guys.
for a
Thank you.
moment.
Just wanted to say
Perfect.
thanks to Dave.
Definitely.
Thank you, and thanks
100%.
to the YGG and the community. We're really excited to have you on board. And yeah, no, AC, I wanted to see what your background as an esports guy. Let us know what you think will be good features for the PvP systems, because obviously esports is going to be a big part of that.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, I'm looking forward to diving into this game. I'm definitely gonna commit a few hours today, and through the course of my evening, I've got some free time today, so I'm looking forward to actually playing this game and experiencing it for myself. I'll definitely share my feedback and ideas with you all. I'm looking forward to more cinematics and just that immersive storyline experience. So hope we get more of that soon. Before we wrap up the AMA here, just want to ask you if you could share the best way for the community to keep up with the updates coming out of Meta King and what's going on with Block Lords.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Again, the community beta is happening, so really, we want as many players in, right? So please join our Discord, join us on Twitter. Obviously, we're active in the YGG chats as well, so happy to answer anything, anytime if you ping us there. And yeah, blocklords.com is the website. You can check out our cinematics. Thanks for the love there. There are definitely more cinematics coming. I won't spoil them. But blocklords.com is the place. You can download the game there. You can reach the marketplace there. You can mint farmers on IMX if you get some banners. You can get some Polygon heroes quite cheaply, as mentioned. And yeah, really, Discord is where it all happens. So I strongly suggest join the Discord. We've got weekly giveaways for the heroes. We've got weekly giveaways to the most active users. The community beta is going for another few weeks. After that, we'll take it down, but we'll keep the engagement growing. And yeah, the open beta later in the summer. That's when really things start popping.
Awesome. Yeah, looking forward to it. Just want to throw a little joke out here. Fallen, he's actually out playing Block Lords in real life. He's on the farm right now. And that's why he's having audio issues. The internet's not that great out there on the farm. But yeah, at least he's here with us. We appreciate everyone here on the team for sure. I'm looking forward to Block Lords overall. I can't wait to dive into the game today. Honestly, like the whole community here is like really fired up. They just really want to get into the whole guild aspect right away. AC, he's been super hype about this for a while. So Block Lords has been on our radar for quite a while. I think from just about the very beginning, if not the very beginning. And it's just been getting better as time has continued to move forward. So yeah, we appreciate you, coming on with us today, sharing all the insights about Block Lords, and really getting everybody excited about what's to come from your game. Yeah, I'm excited to see what the whole GameStop venture is going to look like, because that's my region out here. So can't wait to see how that collaboration kicks off. Immutable and Polygon, big stuff. So for those of you who didn't already know, make sure you pay attention, jump into the Block Lords Discord, download the beta. If you can get a hero off the market, do so. There's opportunities in the community as well. YGG's got some heroes as well. So we're definitely going to have initiatives here for the community to get involved in and participate and play this game, and we will conquer these kingdoms within Block Lords soon enough. Let's go.
I agree.
Let's go.
Yeah, so thanks for coming, and appreciate everyone that attended today, and shout out to all the team. Much love to AC, Fallen, Sedano, all the marshals in the background. We appreciate you guys, the entire community. It was great. Appreciate your questions, and yeah, we'll see you next time. YGG, together we play.
Together. Hey, peace out. Thank you, David.
Cheers.